Welcome to this new Pixel Fudger video. Today we're going to look at the best way to organize your nodes in the Nuke node graph. We're going to look whether we should be using a vertical or an horizontal B pipe, and I think this one is going to be controversial. So what do I mean by B pipe? Well, this is the typical vertical B pipe where your background here is at the top and then you comp things on top of it, and the main backbone of your script is traveling through the B inputs of your merge nodes, and all those B inputs are coming top to bottom. So this is a classic vertical B pipe. You'll see that everywhere in tutorial videos, even on Foundry's own YouTube channel. This is how they suggest to organize your script. An alternate way to organize our script would be to use an horizontal B pipe. So here all my A inputs are coming from the top and my B input is coming from the left. So my main B pipe is read from left to right instead of top to bottom. Of course, you could choose to not organize your script at all and just have a big bowl of spaghetti. And note that the example here in the middle is very tidy, but this is not organized. There's no easy way to figure out where is the main B pipe of your script. So even though it's tidy, this is almost as useless as a big bowl of spaghetti if you are not the person that built the script. So I put a poll out on LinkedIn asking people, what do they prefer? Do you prefer horizontal or vertical? And by far vertical won at 91% and horizontal at only 7%, and 2% of the people said, I don't care about organizing my Nuke script. So essentially 7% horizontal, 91% vertical. I knew vertical would win, but I was shocked by how much. I wasn't expecting to be that much of a difference between the two. What was pretty fun about that poll is that I got a lot of fun comments in the comment section. For example, somebody said,
"You as a comp supervisor really should not be posting this."
So I shouldn't even be posting the question. It's so obvious, the answer, that it's dangerous to ask the question in case I might mislead some young compositors down the wrong path. So I shouldn't even be posting the question. Somebody else said,
horizontal scripts shouldn't be an option.
They should not even be an option. You shouldn't even consider horizontal B pipes. That's not even on the table. Somebody else said,
horizontal should be avoided as much as possible. There is no discussion about that.
No discussion. There's nothing left to say about this. Why am I even asking the question? And finally, someone said,
"You madman, what a question."
So that person probably thought I was trolling or something, but that was a legitimate question. And then I got more, moderate comments. And a comment that appeared a few times was that the only exception they do is when they rebuild CG. So they use vertical B pipes all the time, except when they rebuild CG. So I wanted to know what's so special about AOVs and CG. Why is it acceptable to have an horizontal B pipe, or even preferred to have a horizontal B pipe here, but when you're comping any type of other elements, suddenly it's completely illegal and out of the question? I think this is a very good way to work, and I wonder, couldn't we use that same method somewhere else? So I wanted to know which is best. First, let's compare screen real estate. So here I have the exact same comp, the exact same nodes. They're just reorganized. One is vertical and one is horizontal. Those little backdrops here are the exact same size. They contain the exact same nodes. And if you have a single screen layout, something like this, when you try to fit the entire node graph in your viewer here, you can see that our backdrops are much bigger compared to this, because we have to zoom out much more to accommodate our really tall script here in a window that's essentially square-ish. We could reorganize our layout a little bit. So here's an alternate layout. Again, this is better because now we're using the full height of our screen, but this is still more zoomed out. Look at the size of the backdrops compared to this here. So this still requires more zoom out to fit the entire node graph. And then we have this entire area here that's useless. Of course, we could put something else here, like a curve editor or something, but that wouldn't solve our problem that we're maxed out here on the height. We could add an extra monitor to our setup. So if we had a dual monitor setup, then we would have even more area in width, so we could zoom in more in our horizontal layout, but our vertical layout wouldn't change because we could add 10 more monitors, we'd still have the same height to deal with. Compare the difference of this backdrop with this. Clearly we can read way more. We can start to read the labels here. Here the labels are not even shown because we're too zoomed out. So in terms of screen real estate, I'd say the horizontal layout wins for this one. So let's give a point to the horizontal layout. Next, let's compare how much work is it to add branches to a script when it's vertical and horizontal. So let's switch to Nuke. Here I've got my scripts. One is vertical, the other one is horizontal. They're identical otherwise. So here I've got work in progress. I want to add something. So if I need to add something here in the middle, I need to create a gap. Obviously, I need to make some room and then create my branch, add a merge node, M, a key. I can drop it on my B pipe and connect the A input to my output of my branch here. And that's it. If I want to tidy it up, I could control click to create a dot. And I could create a second dot with the period hotkey. And I like to use dots as labels. So this would be my green screen, for example. So that's pretty easy. So essentially create a gap, create a merge node, drop it in, connect it. Let's see how it is on the horizontal setup. So same thing, I need to create a gap here like this. Create a merge node with M, drop it on my B pipe, connect my A pipe, and then I can create a dot here and label it like so. Here we go. So essentially this is a tie. This is the same amount of clicks, the same amount of manipulation to add a branch to both setups. So I would call this a tie. So essentially both methods would have a point here. Next, let's compare how much work is it to grow a branch, because obviously as you work, your branch will grow, we'll add more stuff to it. So let's try that. So here I have I'm going to replace my little placeholder green screen with the real full branch with all the stuff in it. So for horizontal, it's very simple. All I have to do is connect it, and that's it. I'm done. Control Shift click to select all the upstream nodes and move it to make it tidy. Here we go. And notice here that the horizontal setup will keep growing forever. We have nothing above us, so if we need to make this more and more and more and more and more complicated, we can just keep going forever and we'll never enter into a collision with another branch. Let's compare that with our vertical setup. So let's copy this, and here I want to replace my placeholder branch with the real thing. Let's move that to the side here. Control Shift click here. So if I want to put it on the same level as everything else, I need to create some room above. Or if I'm okay with leaving it here on the side, then this guy can't grow, because as it will grow, it will intersect here and that will become a real mess real soon. So what needs to happen is I need to move everything up to create a gap so this guy can live pretty happy here. But eventually, as this grows and grows and grows, it's going to collide. So I'm going to need to, as this branch grows, this guy will need to become farther and farther away. So I'm going to have a script that's even taller and taller and skinnier as my branches grow. An alternate way to fix that, I guess, could be to stagger everything. So you could do a kind of a staircase setup where everything is staggered like that. So this will avoid collisions, I guess. But then you'll end up with a script that looks pretty ridiculous to me. So you'll end up with something like this, where everything is moving to the left as you move down. So this is ridiculous. Now this guy is so far away from its merge, I don't think that's practical. So let's undo all of that. This to me is the main problem with vertical setups, is as you grow your branches, you keep running into collisions and you have to keep moving the furniture around to accommodate branches that keep growing. That's the main problem here. So for growing branches, I think this is much more efficient, because as you grow, you have infinite space on top for your branches, and if you need to add more layers to your comp, then you have infinite space to the right to add more layers. This is the same as vertical, though vertical also has infinite space at the bottom here, so that's not a difference. But in terms of growing branches, I think the horizontal setup is much more user-friendly, because you don't have to keep moving the furniture around. So in terms of points, I'd say this one goes to the horizontal B pipe. Now let's look at editing branches. So if you want to make tweaks here, then you have your nodes really close to your merge. So usually when you're towards the bottom of your branch, that's when you're going to do the finessing, the little last touches of defocus and transform nudges and stuff like that. So if you need to edit your merge, that's easy. You can go here, maybe put your viewer on it, adjust the opacity, and then okay, I like the opacity, I need to adjust a grade here, and I want to make it brighter. All right, this is good, and you can ping pong really easily between the bottom of your branch and your merge here. When you're in a vertical setup, depending on how complex your setup is, you might need some width to create, for example, rotos or paint outs or stuff like that. So it's very possible that your branch will end up somewhere here, because this stuff here, let's pretend we have more stuff here on the side. So you might have a big paint out here, you know, imagine we've got a lot of stuff going on here. So all of that needs to live somewhere. We don't want to jump over the highway here. So as this branch grows wider, our branch is going to go farther and farther away from the merge here. So this creates an annoyance to me, is if we want to look at the merge, we put our viewer on it, we can edit it here. Let's say we want to play with the opacity, and then okay, but I want to make it brighter. Now I gotta scroll, create my grade here, adjust my gain. Oh, now I think it's too opaque, I need to play with the opacity. Scroll and then nudge my thing. Is it better in plus? Let's see. Oh, I like it in plus, but now it's too bright. Scroll. So I hate that personally, so I don't like it. And we need an extra dot here because now our pipe is going through the label. So yeah. All right, so that's a small detail, but then the fact that our merge is really far away from the branch potentially is really annoying. So in terms of doing quick edits, I think the horizontal B pipe wins. So in terms of points here, this one goes to horizontal. It's not a massive deal, but it's annoying. Then let's look at script readability. So in terms of script readability, I think this is really easy to read. The main benefit here is because our main B pipe is horizontal and all the other B pipes are vertical. So this makes a visual difference between both our master pipe and the secondary pipe. So it's quite clear which one is which. You don't need backdrops or labels or anything like that. Visually, there is a difference, and all our layers live on the same level. So it doesn't matter if it's the background or other layers, they all live on the same level. If we needed to project each layer on a card, for example, we could have cards and scanline renders here all at the same level. They could all be selected, they could all be disabled together, and so on. When you look at this, there is no visual difference. This is a very simple script. So obviously this is super readable also, but the main issue here for me is that the B pipe is the same as the A pipe. So on a very complex script, you will end up with a bunch of vertical lines all parallel to each other. And when you're not looking at the entire script, for example, like this, which one is which one is the main B pipe and which one is the secondary B pipe. They're both vertical and they're both parallel. So if you have a bunch of parallel lines all next to each other, it can be very tricky to figure out which one is which. So that's one thing I don't like. And the other thing is that our background is visually different from the rest of our layers. So it lives in this kind of limbo world that's different. You could, I guess, do the same thing and create a dot here, but I'm not sure a lot of people would like that. Another thing that in terms of script readability is here, it's really logical. When you start from the top, your pixels flow down the tube here and it goes down into the rain gutter, and then the rain gutter collects everything and eventually it goes down the gutter at the output here. So this makes sense. Your stuff is going down and then it hits the main B pipe and then it merges with everything else. When you look at this, your pixels are going down the tube here. That's fine, that's the same. And then eventually it creates a hard right. So for some reason your flow is going down and right at the same time. So which is it? Is it down, or is it top to bottom, or left to right? It's both. So I think this is easier to read. So in terms of script readability, I think horizontal wins. It's not a huge difference. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker, but I think by a hair, horizontal wins. So in terms of points, we'll give that to horizontal. And then the last little detail we have to look at is connecting mask inputs. So if we look at our vertical script here, if we wanted to mask our merge node, we could easily do that with the side input here and connect our mask. This is not good practice. I'd say 99% of the time you should not be masking your merge nodes. You should be masking the layer that's going into your merge node, and you should do a merge set to mask or stencil, for example, to mask your layer. So this is the preferred way to do this, but if you have a more exotic merge node like a multiply or something like that, sometimes it may be a good idea to mask it. So here there's zero problem. You can just connect it as usual. Let's look at the difference with our horizontal setup here. And here it can be a bit finicky to get to the mask input. So if you click on it, sometimes you'll grab it, but here, see the problem? I'm disconnecting the output here. So this can be annoying. There is an easy solution. Just move the node down a little bit so the two are not on top of each other, connect it, and then move it back to where it should be. So it's slightly finicky, but it's not a huge deal. Speaking of mask inputs, some people might be turned off and say, well, I don't like this because it's ambiguous. Is that pipe going from this to the mask input or from the output to this input? I say the best way to do that is to change your preferences and make sure that your arrows are set to a different color when they go left and up compared to right and down. That way, if you have a branch that's going the wrong way, for example, like this, then it will be quite obvious that this branch is going the wrong way because it's red. So make sure to enable in your preferences the arrow colors, and that will make sure you can right away figure out the direction of your node graph even without seeing the little arrow aheads. All right, so in terms of connecting the mask input, okay, there is a slight advantage to a vertical B pipe. So there we have it. We have our winner. Horizontal is the winner, 5-2. So we can now conclude with our little experiment that using a horizontal B pipe is the most efficient and elegant way to organize your Nuke script. I'm sure everybody will agree with me on this. I don't expect any comments or anybody to disagree with this, and I hope the entire industry switches to horizontal B pipes right away. Of course, I know that's not going to happen. What I do hope is going to happen, hopefully this video will help the few of us that do like to work with horizontal B pipes and free us a little bit from the tyranny of the vertical B pipes. So I don't expect other people to switch to horizontal B pipes if they don't want to, but it does break my heart when I have ex-students of mine that tell me they had to change their way of working because a lead or a soup insisted that horizontal is terrible and shouldn't be done and vertical is the only way to do it. Hopefully my little message in a bottle here will open people's minds to at least allow others to have a horizontal B pipe. It does have objective advantages compared to vertical B pipes. So hopefully you have an open mind about this. Please feel free to let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.